Lando Norris gets blasted for his recent comments. Toto Wolff drops a bombshell on Mercedes' shortcomings, and Mike Krack stands up for his drivers after the controversial Chinese Grand Prix. Let's get straight into the latest F1 news. Nico Rosberg, the 2016 world champion and former F1 driver, has offered to help Lando Norris with his mental performance. He has stated that Norris needs more positivity rather than betting against his own success. This comes after Norris joined Red Bull teammates on the podium in Sunday's Chinese Grand Prix, where he finished in second place, splitting them. Norris was surprised by his result, as he had bet against himself, thinking that he would finish 35 seconds behind the Ferraris. However, his attitude had Rosberg shaking his head. He believes that Norris is a glass-half-empty guy, and that betting that Ferrari would beat them is not the best approach. Rosberg thinks more positivity would be helpful for Norris. Despite this, Rosberg praised Norris for his phenomenal drive, which he believes was on par with Max Verstappen, making them the best drivers of the day. He also noted that Norris had no degradation on his car, which was amazing to see. This was in contrast to his teammate Oscar Piastri, who was struggling with degradation. Damon Hill, the 1996 world champion, praised Norris for his performance and was surprised by how close he was able to run the Red Bulls, splitting the teammates at the checkered flag. Hill believes that McLaren introducing an upgraded package at the next race in Miami could make things interesting. Norris is currently in P5 in the Drivers' Championship, with 55 points, which is 55 points behind Verstappen. Meanwhile, McLaren is sitting in third place in the Constructors' Championship. In Formula One, Mercedes has been struggling to understand a certain aspect of the ground effect aerodynamic era, which has led to a prolonged dip in their form, according to team principal Toto Wolff. Despite making significant changes to their car during the off-season, Mercedes has yet to finish on the podium in a Grand Prix. Wolff admits that there is a certain aspect of their car's performance that they have been unable to grasp. During the recent Chinese Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton managed to finish second in the sprint, giving the team a glimmer of hope, but he admitted that he would have struggled to make progress if he had started further back. Despite this, Hamilton was still hopeful for the Grand Prix, having learned a lot about the car during the short stint. Unfortunately, an experimental setup caused him to be eliminated from qualifying in Q1, and he started the race in 18th place. Although he managed to score points by finishing in 9th place, the weekend was not what Mercedes had hoped for. Wolff expressed his dissatisfaction with the team's performance, saying that the only highlight of the weekend was Hamilton's second place in the sprint, but the team's speed was just not there. He acknowledged that they had to take a step and bring new things to Miami, but they were still behind the Ferraris and Lando Norris, which was not good enough. Wolff also mentioned that it was not easy to experience such a prolonged dip in form, especially since this was already the third year for them. The team's analysis showed that all the necessary ingredients were present to perform well, but they were unable to make it work. Wolff admitted that there was something they did not quite understand. Mercedes' ongoing struggles have led former F1 driver Christian Danner to speculate that Wolff is missing his former sparring partner, Niki Lauda, who passed away in 2019. According to Danner, Wolff has to rely on his team of technicians, engineers, and an aero team to make the car work, and this has been the problem for Mercedes. Wolff's drivers have also expressed their concerns about the team's performance. Danner believes that Wolff misses Lauda, who was an important friend and sparring partner. Wolff admitted that he missed Lauda as a friend and traveling companion, and his loss has had an impact on the team's performance since 2019. If you are enjoying the video so far, drop a like and subscribe to the channel for daily F1 news. Mike Krack alleges that the Formula One stewards have been very strict with his drivers lately. He mentions that Fernando Alonso faced penalties in both the sprint and the Grand Prix races in China. During the Shanghai Grand Prix, both Aston Martin teammates endured eventful weekends, receiving 20 seconds worth of penalties, while only earning 7 points. Additionally, they acquired a total of 5 penalty points. According to Krack, the stewards have been particularly tough on Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll in recent times. Alonso was the first to face investigation by the stewards due to his driving behavior against Carlos Sainz during the sprint. This resulted in a clash between the two drivers, leading to a puncture and floor damage for Alonso, ultimately forcing him out of the race. Subsequently, the stewards imposed a 10-second time penalty on Alonso, along with 3 penalty points on his super license. The following day, it was Lance Stroll who encountered trouble. Stroll had to pit for a new front wing and later served a 10-second time penalty, with the stewards attributing blame for the crash to him. 2 penalty points were also added to his super license. Interestingly, these incidents occurred just 2 races after Alonso received a penalty for unsafe driving in the Australian Grand Prix, where he braked early, causing George Russell to crash without direct contact between the two. This series of events led Crack to assert that the stewards have been tough on his drivers. When questioned about the decision to penalize Stroll, Crack noted the contrasting penalties handed out in previous incidents. He mentioned a collision in Bahrain where Stroll was spun around on the first lap, yet no penalty was issued to the driver responsible. Crack recognized the lack of consistent stewarding, which he found frustrating. However, he also acknowledged the importance of having a fast car and driving without penalties, using Max Verstappen as an example. Regarding the perception that his drivers are easy targets, Crack acknowledged the ongoing discussion about driving standards and stricter penalties at the start of the season. He highlighted the intense fight that took place during the sprint, even though his drivers faced negative outcomes. Crack expressed disappointment with spending substantial time with the stewards, feeling that it was unfair. He suggested reevaluating the situation to possibly arrive at a different conclusion. Crack found it interesting that the journalists shared the same sentiment. The penalties received by Alonso and Stroll during the Chinese Grand Prix may significantly impact their seasons. Accumulating 12 penalty points within a 12-month period results in an automatic 1-race suspension. Currently, Stroll has accumulated 7 points, while Alonso has acquired 6, all of which were received in the past month. Crack humorously mentioned that at the rate they are going, it will be challenging for Alonso to avoid a ban. He emphasized the high accumulation of penalty points between the 2 drivers at the moment. That is it for this video. Watch this video next to stay up to date on the latest news.